When it comes down to the current Pokemon booster box market, where is the place to put your money at the end of 2023? Well, today we're going to be taking a look at what we have going on in the current market when it comes down to booster boxes. And then we're going to be discussing on where might be the better place to put your money as we turn to the end of 2023, right after this. All right, guys, when it comes to investment terms in the Pokemon market, today we're going to be taking a look at where you should maybe be looking at putting your money here at the end of 2023. Now, there's a lot of options and there's a lot of opportunities. It's really going to go down to your budgetary needs at the end of the day. Today, we're going to be talking about this from like a low-income style. So if you're looking at a starter, kind of just getting into the Pokemon hobby, if you're a beginner in Pokemon investing, and you just have a few $100s or even $1,000 to spend on the Pokemon TCG. There are some places right now that we could go that you could buy one booster box for like $1,000, and you probably would not get as many opportunities at the returns that we could be seeing at some of the other ones. So today we're going to kind of look at the two current markets, which is going to be Sword and Shield, and we're going to go into Scarlet and Violet. And we're going to be looking at graphs from each one of them. We're going to check out the first three sets of Scarlet and Violet. We're going to just pick a couple of the end runners here when it comes down to Sword and Shield. Once again, we did a video similar to this, but today I want to be sitting here talking about where you really want to be placing your money. Where's going to be the best opportunities for you to futuristically see gains, and where you're going to get the best opportunity for gains when it comes down to it. So you don't miss that next bus. So you get an opportunity to get into it before things change in the market. So first thing we're going to do is switch down to the other screen, and we're going to be taking a look at the Sword and Shield market to start things off. All right, guys, so here we are down in the Sword and Shield market. Now, I wanted to start off with Fusion Strike, because Fusion Strike was one of those kind of misleading sets. It did really well for a little bit, and then it did really bad for a little bit, and then it did really well again. So we've seen some really good up and down on this particular set, and it gave you an opportunity to kind of wait for it to come down into that low range, and then the opportunity to go ahead and buy into it. Now, if you're a beginner in the Pokemon market, and you are looking at a 5-year, 10-year investment opportunity, none of these sets are going to be bad for that opportunity. Overall, I think in 5 to 10 years, every one of these sets will have good growth. We're going to continue to see some vibrancy in the Sword and Shield era. People want alternate arts. People want to chase these particular sets. The later sets, of course, had trainer galleries in them, which were really fun for individuals to chase that trainer gallery set, and it had a lot of flash at the end of the day. But overall, any of these sets, if you're looking long-term and you're trying to figure out where you want to be in 5 to 10 years, as long as you believe in the Pokemon Company to be here in 5 to 10 years, any of these booster boxes, in my opinion, will do extremely well. They have good opportunities for growth overall for a long period of time. But what I'm going to be looking at more is that you're just starting out. You want to get into the Pokemon TCG. You want to start investing, and you want to be making smart decisions that give you the best opportunity for percentage gains. Now, Fusion Strike, as you can see, for the last 6 months, has not really done much, right? It's been pretty flat. We had that initial growth, so if I go back 1 year, and this is using Pokedata.io, if you don't use this, it's a great opportunity to track your data and keep in focus with what you're working on to give you the best scope of where you're actually at in your investments. So, as you can see, if we go back even 1 year ago, back in last November, we were about $93. Fusion Strike sat around that $93, $90 to $100 range for a long period of time since its release. Almost a year, actually a year before we actually saw any growth on this one. And it stayed under $100 all the way up until roughly December 1st. Then we started to see it finally poke its head above 100, but it took a year before this really got some traction. Now, keep in mind, this is a pretty common thing that we're going to talk about when it comes down to these investments. So now we're going to take a look, and you're going to see it just continually gained over and over, up and up and up and up. We saw a big spike here this spring with a lot of TCG sets. We saw a good spring boost, which once again, to me, a lot of it seems to fall right in that time frame for tax returns. So people got some more expendable money, and people put it into the Pokemon TCG. So we saw a little bit more growth. And overall, we've continued to just kind of see it linger there about that $140 range. Now, once again, this is another one of those things where it's kind of stuck until Pokemon Center sells out. Nobody's going to spend more than $144 for this particular set when they can just get it from Pokemon Center for the exact same price. It's going to create that bubble or that cap. Now, do I think the Fusion Strike, when that cap comes off, is going to accelerate extremely quickly? I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I think it might see a little bit of a surge up to that 150, 160 range. But once again, when you're looking at a product that buying in at about $140, you have to make about 175, almost $180 in order for you to break even on this particular product. Do I see it jumping to 180 in the next year? Probably not. It's probably going to take a little bit longer than that to actually get that traction. So we're going to take a look at the next one, which is going to be Evolving Skies. Now everybody's favorite poster child, right? Evolving Skies sitting at 405. Now, as you can see, in general, in the last 6 months, there hasn't been a ton of movement in this particular box. We're actually down to about 400, 410 is where I've been seeing current sales on Evolving Skies. You know, at 6 months ago when we started off, it was about $360. So you're seeing about a $40 increase. But if you bought at about $360, don't forget, you almost got to get it up to nearly $500 in order to break even. About, I think it's like 485, somewhere right in that range. So you have to have a substantial amount of gain in order to be able to cover the costs of selling this particular product on most sites. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out to 1 year. So as you can see over the last year, we've seen some really good growth. Once again, October of last year, we've seen this continually just kind of sit there at about that $100 or $240 range. We saw some really good acceleration the year prior. It really did get up there quick, and then we've continued to just kind of see this nice trending pattern all the way up to where we are today, about that $400 range. Once again, though, my question is that if you were to buy in this particular product, you've got a low budget of like $1,000. Is your smart play to buy 2 of these boxes, put them away, and then try and wait for these things to get some traction again? Do we think that you're going to have traction in these particular boxes in the next year or two? Do you think that this is going to happen in the next 5? Well, probably in 5, I could see Evolving Skies starting to get some traction. As long as Pokemon continues to do what Pokemon does, Pokemon continues to be a company, and there's still interest in the hobby. This could actually see some more traction again here in the next 3 to 5 years. I could honestly see that happening. Do I think that overall that there's a good opportunity for you to potentially make some more money someplace else? Yes, and we'll get to that a little bit further down the line. So I'm going to go to the next one here, which is going to be Lost Origins. Now, a lot of people like Lost Origins because of that trainer gallery. Overall, this is Lost Origins performance in the last 6 months. Since it's been released, it was released right here. You can buy it for about $115. I purchased some of them at about I think it was $105 is what I ended up purchasing 2 cases of it at. Once again, you saw this really quick gain right here, which is in May. And it did really well. Overall, well-perceived set. Overall, the performance on it has been really good. It's doing really well, and we, of course, been sitting here where we're kind of shot past the cap, and then we came back down under the cap when it comes down to it, underneath the $145. Reasoning being is Pokemon Center still has stock. Pokemon Center still has stock. It's really hard to maintain above that $145 range. It's going to kind of cap out right at the same point. We've seen this kind of dip, but the one thing you're going to see here at the end of the year, we were at about 144, which, of course, is that cap, like I keep talking about. You're seeing that trend kind of happening on these sets, and now we're going to see it drop down. Well, why did this happen? Why did we lose that kind of potential growth right there at the end? And that's because of reprint. We got that reprint that came in here about end of summer here in August, mid-September we got that reprint of booster boxes for both Silver Tempest and Lost Origins. That's a big factor when it comes down to it on why we saw that dip. And you're going to see it if we went to Silver Tempest, has almost got the exact same dip. Once again, if you were looking to buy it again, now is actually probably a good opportunity that if you're looking for that long term, definitely a good opportunity to buy into it at $130. If you're looking for that short-term return and actually make some good investability right now, this is not one of them sets that I would be purchasing right now. I'd be watching and waiting for that potential to lose that cap. And once that cap's gone, I would definitely be trying to purchase these things and maybe get some alignment in that. Use some of the funds that you could potentially see before that happens by using other products to utilize that opportunities when it comes down to it. Overall, once again, you got to get to about $170 for you to actually make profit on this. Selling it, and I'm just using TCG Player and eBay as my basis on this. Now, there are some good opportunities in other places to sell, but I'm going to use these 2 just because in my head I know the number's pretty good using these sites on where we need to be for profitability. So, once again, you buy it at $130 right now, you actually got to get to almost $170 with shipping and, of course, TCG Player fees and all that other stuff in order to break even on it. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at these investments is if I buy at 130, I got to make this much in order to come out of this with actually in the green. So do you think that this box in the next year or 2 is going to jump from $130 all the way up to $175 really quickly? Probably not. It's probably not going to happen that quickly unless some really big thing happens in Pokemon TCG, and then we'll be having completely new conversations at that point in time. So, next thing I want to do is go back. We're going to go all the way back to Scarlet and Violet era. So the first one I'm going to pull up here is going to be Obsidian Flames. Now, a lot of people are wondering why is Obsidian Flames even being talked about for an investment opportunity. Well, once again, I sit there and look when I'm looking at investment opportunities and overall performance on sets. Now, I'm only going to have 6 months of data on most of the Scarlet and Violet sets, but when I sit here and see these trends of these booster boxes continuing going down, once again, this is exactly what we saw in Sword and Shield in 2021. We saw, Evolving Skies dropping under $100, $99. We saw Chilling Reign dropping down to about $78 to $82, right in that range. We saw Battle Styles dropping all the way down to almost $72 to $75 a booster box, and even Fusion Strike dropped down to that $85 range when it came down to it. So we're seeing a continuing trend on these particular items. Does Obsidian Flame have enough to offer in it to where you're actually excited to buy it or open it potentially? Is there a reason for people to be purchasing this for overall futuristic sales? Yes, it's exciting. I still see people enjoying opening Obsidian Flame. You got a Charizard chase in it. People are still enjoying Charizard. You pull a Charizard, you get excited, you pull a Charizard. Pull rates aren't too bad. You can actually pull Charizards fairly easily out of this set per booster box. Granted, that's going to douse the price of that booster or that single, which is what we've seen with Obsidian Flame. Even the SAR in this set is not doing so hot when it comes down to overall price. But we are seeing some really good opportunities when it comes down to the booster box here, when it comes down to pull rates. People are interested in pulling Charizards. Once again, opportunities are there if you look at it, and for the price point. So once again, I look at this as a budgetary deal. If you're trying to do this for a really good budget and get the best opportunities at the end of the day, you could buy a couple boxes of Obsidian Flame here. Go buy 2 of them. You're going to spend about $170 for them. If you look around, you can get them actually for about $80 to $85 or $82. So once again, you're going to be about $175 with tax for 2 booster boxes. That's 1 Sword and Shield box for most of them. You're almost getting 2 for 1 right now when it comes down to Scarlet and Violet. Now we're going to move into the next one, which is going to be this one, which is, of course, Palladium Evolved. Personally, I like Palladium Evolved. There is a lot of opportunity into it, and as we're seeing in the market itself, as this set ages, we're seeing it kind of pan out and starting to come back. It never really dropped as far as Obsidian Flame. Once again, there's a lot to offer in a Paldea Evolved, and it's a really, really well put together set. There's some really good illustrator rares. There's some really good art rares. There's some really good secret art rares. There's some really good layout in this particular set, and I do really enjoy opening Paldea Evolved, and I do enjoy the hits in it. So once again, even for myself, it's an enjoyable set to open, which is an incentive for people to want to purchase this. There are some really good SARs in here that look really good as display pieces. They have good storylines, even with it coming down to it with the starters. So you can get that storyline with the 3 cards through the evolutions. So there's some good opportunities in Paldea Evolved. And as you can see, it's holding its own rather well. So hear me out. You could sit there and buy another 2 boxes of Paldea Evolved. Once again, if you search around, you can get them for about $88 to $92. Just because it's this price on eBay doesn't mean you can't dig around and find a little bit lower pricing. There's some good, better opportunities around out there. So once again, I just want to point this out, that this one's holding up pretty well, but still, for $200 more, you could get 2 boxes of Paldea Evolved. Once again, you're going to see what I'm doing here as I'm going through. Now we got Scarlet and Violet base set. Now Scarlet and Violet base set has taken the biggest hit out of all of them so far. I think Obsidian Flame is probably not far. I would watch Obsidian Flame, honestly, and instead of buying it right now at about $80, I would continue to watch it until either A, you see it start to move back up. So if you see it go to 80 and then kind of start to run back up because it's starting to finally eat up the stock, then you have an opportunity to purchase those booster boxes at that point. But you're looking at about $75 a booster box for Scarlet and Violet. And this is what I'm seeing for sales in a lot of places. Now, once again, you could sit here and almost get 2 boxes of Scarlet and Violet for the price of 1 Sword and Shield box. Once again, I'm looking at building opportunity. That's the bigger thing is that when you're looking at certain buys and when you're looking at investing in general, these have a better opportunity between 3 sets. So I can spread my money between 3 different sets and get the opportunities. You could also throw in for $1,000. You can throw in even Paradox Rift at this point, and you can also throw in a few pieces of Pokemon 151. You can get a full collection of the first year of Scarlet and Violet in booster box and ETB form and have a huge window of opportunity versus just having 2 to 3 boxes of, Sword and Shield. Even a 6-pack, even if you got 6, you're still containing it down into such a small container of product. You could really blossom that out into this particular Scarlet and Violet set right now. Sword and Shield does not have those opportunities. You can buy a lot more product and spread it out a lot further in the Scarlet and Violet era, which means you can play the market in all of them. That's the awesome thing is for the price point. Even you look at it right now, you can get all of these sets for literally with the Paradox Rift for like $800, $750, $800 if you look around. How is that not a good thing? You're paying $750 with so many different opportunities. You can see we're seeing just Scarlet and Violet base set just continuing to trend down. And once again, do I think it's going to drop much below $75? Probably not. We're probably getting to a point where it just can't go any lower, just due to the fact that the losses on it are becoming so high for everybody. Maybe distributors are starting to cut some deals on it to try and burn it out and get it out, and that's why we're seeing the pricing going down this far. But technically, right now, we're $20 under the price of a booster box to an LGS for most LGSs. I know my LGS is paying $96 a booster box. So whoever's selling this right now, either A, it has mass quantity of this particular box, or the second option is that they are just beating themselves to death and probably hoping that Pokemon 151 is going to bring back the money, or another TCG is doing so. Once again, do I see base set dropping very much further? No, I think we're going to see this line kind of flatten out at this point in time. I mean, we're seeing a couple dollars change right in here. I mean, we were about the same price here, about $77 in this area, and we're down to about $75 here. So you're about $2 difference at that price range. So once again, you're going to get a bottoming out point at some point right in this area. We never even seen Sword and Shield boxes or Sun and Moon boxes really drop below that $72, $70 range. I just never really seen it even in those eras when it was a little bit slower. But once again, you're creating a larger platform of investability. If you can create that larger platform, and look, there's more opportunity in these boxes to accelerate. So even if these boxes go from $75 all the way up to $95, you've broken even. You don't have to have a $70 gain in order to get any kind of break even. You don't have to have a $50 gain on a product in order to cover the fees of selling this. This is the benefit of buying lower. Also is the fees are a lot lower at the end of the day, which gives you a better opportunity to get in. Less fees to break even. Once you get to that point, it takes a little bit, $20, $30. You're breaking even, you're making money. If you sell these things, and it gives you that cushion in order to be able to get out of something a little bit easier if you need that expendable money to come back. So once again, overall, I think that there's some really good opportunities. There's some really good things happening right now in the market that you could use to your advantage. You don't need to necessarily spend a huge amount of money. I would rather, personally, and I've said this before, I've said this for the last 2 years, I personally like to diversify. I would rather have products spread out all over the place. Let's say you don't like Scarlet and Violet base set. You don't think that that's going to do really well. Put more money into Paradox Rift, and put more money into Paldea Evolve. Put more money into Obsidian Flame, and forget about base set. You don't have to diversify that far. Pick the ones that you think are going to be the best performers. Why would you open something? Obsidian Flame, I could see opening it for a Charizard chase. It's fun. I still open it up for Charizard chase. My sons open it up for Charizard chase. It's fun, right? We can pull that gold Charizard. You can pull that SAR. You can pull the EX. You can pull the full art. There's a lot of Charizard opportunities in that particular set. Paldea Evolve, we still like in opening up Paldea Evolve. Why? Because there's a lot of SARs in there that we don't have, and they're really nice looking cards. Whether the new starter lines, a couple of the other old style Gen 1 or Gen 2 Pokemon that are inside this set, there's a lot of opportunities overall to really have some fun in this era. Once again, guys, I just want to point this stuff out and look at the different opportunities. Sword and Shield is great. I get it. But we're going to get to a point where Sword and Shield is going to price itself out, and it's not time to jump on that boat. It's time to let that boat sail for a little bit and then wait for the next one to come through. It'll eventually happen. Something will change, and something will make that market potentially go up again. But if you're trying to do something and trying to grow, and you're trying to become a beginner on the Pokemon investment scheme, be looking at these little sets. It's a little less money. You can do it cheaper. For under $100, you can get in and start investing today. I mean, most people have $100 around that they could go buy a booster box that's expendable money. If you got $1,000, you can get a lot more product of Scarlet and Violet than you can of Sword and Shield, which means they have to move a lot less and make a lot more money, which is a good position to be in. Plus, you don't have to get those huge gains to start things off and get up there. Now, granted, Scarlet and Violet may take longer than we think to get traction. It might take a little bit more time, and maybe these numbers will flatline for a long period of time. But overall, there's more opportunity to catch the next thing that's going to move up fast. And these are the areas that's going to happen. Modern has the opportunity to do that. It just takes one thing to flip the switch. You flip the switch, the market starts to move. When the market starts to move, everybody moves to that area, and the whole market starts to go all at once, which means Scarlet and Violet has the best volatility, the best opportunity to become volatile and see those potential gains that you might be looking for when it comes down to your Pokemon booster box investments in 2023. Granted, keep your eye open. Black Friday specials are just around the corner. Holiday specials are just around the corner. there's going to be a lot of opportunities to purchase these booster boxes, even at better deals or bundles. You could get booster boxes and ETBs, booster boxes and UPCs, booster boxes and whatever. They'll start bundling. Some sites will start bundling things together where you could get bonus opportunities to really capitalize on this market and capitalize on the products that you can build up in the next few months. So once again, guys, definitely keep an eye on it. If you're looking for booster box investments in 2023 here in the end of the year, these are definitely the ones I would be looking for. Plus, we're going to be going into a little bit of a drought before we get our next actual main expansion set. So that might be another reason that we might see the market get chewed down a little bit and prices will come up. Without a new expansion set coming, we know we're getting Pokemon 151 reprints. We know that we're getting Crown Zenith reprints. I don't know if we're going to get these 3 main expansion set reprints. Paradox Rift just got released. We're probably not going to get a reprint of that. So there's going to be some time to see this market kind of eat up that Scarlet and Violet, and we could see what could happen in the next few months in these particular sets. So other than that, guys, hopefully some good information. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this type of video talking about the 2 different markets and the opportunities in them. If you did and you have made it this far in the video, please take the moment to hit that subscribe button. Hopefully I earned it at this point in time. Hit that like button, get the video on the algorithm, and get everything going on that. Last but not least, hit that notify so you know when we're doing new videos like this. Keep you going on your Pokemon investment and what's happening in the Pokemon market. Other than that, I'll put up 2 videos at the end, as I always do. And as I'm going to ask on every video now, please consider that channel membership. It helps out the channel a lot. It's 99 cents. Get some emojis. Join our lives on Tuesday, now at 8 p.m. Central Time. Every Tuesday, we do them here on the channel to have a discussion on the Pokemon TCG. And then last but not least, we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.